Alright, take 4. So this is a tutorial on how to install the Intellij IDEA IDE and get it to work with Perl. So first go to that link that I posted in the BIF 2017 Squad Facebook group and click on it. Once you get here, you'll see this pack of products that they have. The one we're interested in is the Intellij IDEA Ultimate. Now if you want to get a free license for this and for all these, you can go to Apply Now and you can use your MySeneca email here and your name and stuff and click apply for free products, and they'll send you an email with all the instructions on how to get a license. But for now, just go to Intellij IDEA Ultimate and click download, and then you're going to want to pick the operating system that you're running on. I'm running on Windows, so I'm going to click download, and then here we go, save file. That's downloading, and once that's downloaded, oh, that's quite a lot. Screw that. You guys can download it and then install it. Once you're done installing, then continue with the next part. Also, you can see that it's licensed to me until next year, so that's because I signed up using my MySeneca and I have a license for a whole year. Once you get to this page, go to Configure and Plugins and go to Browse Repositories down here. Then go up into the search bar and type in Perl, and you're going to want to install the one that pops up at the bottom here, Perl. So click Install, and that should take only a couple seconds. Then restart it. I really like this IDE. I like it a lot more than using Sublime Text in the terminal. It's got a lot of cool features which I'll kind of go through briefly. And it also has a debugger, which is really nice if you have problems with your code and you're trying to figure out why certain things are happening that you don't intend, or why it's not working the way you want to. So you can see I've got a bunch of different projects here, but you guys can go to Create New Project. And now that you've got the Perl plugin installed, you can go to Perl 5 module next. You can title it whatever you want. I'm just going to put test 2. Click finish. And you'll see the program loads up. You'll have to wait a little bit for this indexing thing to happen. So just wait for that. That usually takes a little while, depends on how fast your computer is. Usually this step is not too long though. And then when it's done indexing, your project should appear. And you'll see it's got that sort of Perl module look to it. You go up top to File, Settings. And in the Settings window, you'll look at Languages and Frameworks and then select Perl 5. Now, by default, IDEA doesn't know where the Perl 5 interpreter is, so you'll just see Disable Perl 5 support here. So you want to go to New, and then you want to tell it exactly where your Perl is located. So because I'm on Windows, it just knows that it's in Strawberry Perl bin. But if you're on Mac, it might be in User bin. So just find the folder where your Perl is located and tell it where it is, and then click OK. And you'll see this pops up. And now you're going to want to tell the program where the libraries for Perl are located. So you'll go to the green cross over here and go to the folder where your Perl is. Go to Perl lib. Click OK. And then you're going to want to do the same for site lib. And also vendor lib. And when you're done all that, click apply, hit OK, and wait for this indexing thing to happen at the bottom here. That's going to let you actually run the files in the terminal window at the bottom of this program. So while that's going on, I'm going to go and do new Perl 5 file. I'm going to pick a script. You can just call it test.pl or whatever you want. I'm just going to make a little quick hello world just to see that it works. So you're going to have to wait for this indexing to complete. That might take you a little while, depends on your computer really. So part of what's nice about this is that it detects a lot of syntax errors and things. I don't know if it does it yet. I think I have to wait a bit. Come on, you can do it. Maybe I'll edit this part out. Alright, it's done. Okay, we go to Run, click Run, and then select the file. And there you go. Oh, I forgot to put a new line in here. Imagine that. Now, let's say I get rid of that semicolon. You can see, oh, semicolon expected. So it's got kind of a spell check for your syntax, and it does that for a lot of different things. So what I'm going to do now is open up quickly a project I already had for this tutorial. So Perl, I'm going to go into tutorial here. Just open up that project. You can see it loads up pretty quickly. So what I have here is my question 5 from lab 3, the one where you make that isosceles triangle. But you can see that the code looks kind of weird. You know, I've got everything on one line. These 4s aren't properly indented. The code looks kind of crappy. So, you know, if you're one of those people who struggles with formatting your code nicely, you know who you guys are. You'll go to Code up here and go down to Reformat Code, or you can use the shortcut Control-Alt-L, and it'll just automatically format your code so that it looks nice. So now what we can do is we can run it, and you'll see for whatever reason this isn't appearing. It's not telling me to enter it. So let's say I enter the number of rows to be 5. It does this weird thing where it prints it out. It prints everything out, all the output afterwards. And now the way you solve this is you add this line here, this $bar equals 1. And that basically enables output buffering so that it'll output as it happens in your code as opposed to all in a chunk at the end once the entire program is done running. So that'll be pretty nice for instance, this example where it prints things out as you go through. And it also is good for the assignment that we're working on. Just some quick features. If, for instance, I click on a variable, it highlights all the other instances of it. And if I wanted to rename this count to just $I, for instance, what I can do is right-click, refactor, rename. And now I can enter a new name for that variable, and it'll change it across all of them. Also, if for whatever reason, say I deleted this and it's no longer declared, you can see down here, unable to find variable declaration. So, and it also highlights it in orange so that you can see if you haven't declared a variable properly using my. So that's nice if you want to avoid it giving you errors because of strict. Another thing, let's say I had another variable, $test. If you see it's in gray here and it says unused lexical variable. So it's nice. If you declare something and then you never use it in your program, it'll tell you. Aside from that, I mean, it has some other features. I'm sure a lot of them that I have no idea about, but you guys can explore it for yourselves. Now I'm going to show you how to use the debugger, which is a really useful feature. First of all, you're going to need to open up your command prompt here and type in cpan devil camelcade db. And then once you have that, you're going to run that command at the command line. As you can see, I already have it installed and it's up to date, but if you guys run it, it'll probably just do this whole thing where it installs it. Just wait until it completes. If you get any errors, I guess you can ask me. I had a little bit of a problem installing it on certain people's computers, but It should work for you. Once you have it installed, you can close this and go to the debugger here, this little debug, or you can go up top and go to Run Debug. And you can see we're in the debugger now. And if you go to Run here, you see you have all these sort of debug commands here. One of them is F7, another one's F8. So you can just kind of go through the code one by one, line by line. And each time something happens, it'll show you, for instance, here, look, $rows is set to 5 that I input, plus the new line that I guess it adds sometimes. And so now we're doing the chomp, and you can see that it's changed. From 5 new line, it's gone down to 5, because the new line was removed by chomp. So that's pretty cool. And then as you go through, it'll show you what all your variables are, what the values are. As they change, you can see that up here, $J is updating as we go through these iterations of this for loop here. And if you go down here, you can see that it's actually printing out spaces as I go through, line by line. Right? I'm generating spaces. And so this is really nice. It's a nice way to just sort of see how your code runs in real time, what's changing, what variables are changing, what's being outputted. It's really good for this, it's good for your assignments, good for other labs, and just for anything you do in the future. So I'm going to stop this now. I'm going to just show you one more thing about the debugger, and that's breakpoints. So if you click here in between these numbers and your code, you'll see that this red circle pops up. And basically what that does is it makes your code run until it hits that red circle, and then it stops. So if I hit the debugger again, here we go. I'm going to hit here. You see this play here? You're going to click on that. This is like the resume program button. F9, I guess, is the hotkey. So I'll hit 5, and then we look in my console, and nothing's happened. It hasn't printed it out because it's hit the breakpoint and it's paused. If we hit it again, oh, we print out the first line until we go back into the next iteration of this for loop. And so I can actually print it out line by line. And so you guys can play around with this, and you could put more than one breakpoint in your code, for instance. And it's just a very good way to diagnose the problems that you have, and also just to be able to test individual things as you put them in. Because otherwise you'd probably have to do them in a separate file and test them and then paste them back in or something. Or you'd have to put print statements in there to see what the variables actually are. Like if I'm going to run this, I'll run it with the debugger. You can see that over here in the debugger window, it actually shows you all your variables here and what their values are. And so if you step through it, you can see that they're updating in real time as you go through. And so at any point, as you're going through this debugging process, you can actually see what all your variables are. And if you had like a hash or an array, you could open it up and see what every single element actually is called, and where it's stored in memory, stuff like that. So it's a very cool program. I think I'm going on for too long here, but I'm just going to show you one more thing. You can actually log into Zenit using the IDE. So yeah, you go to Tools, Start SSH Session, and then you hit Edit Credentials and go to zenit.senecac.on.ca, port 22, username, mine is biff701. 173803. Put in your password, click OK, and then click Yes. And now we're on Zenit. And then what you can do is say, create a file like sample.pl or something, open it up with Nano, and then you can actually copy this code with Control-C as you normally would, and then in here, paste it in with Control-V. Sometimes it doesn't work. Not sure why that is. You might have to play with it a bit to get it to work. But if it does work, if it'll work, okay, it's not going to work. It's not letting me do it. Oh, there we go. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm not exactly sure why, but if you can get it to work, you can actually paste your code in there and then hit exit. Save it like that, and then go Perl sample.pl and actually run your program on Zenit. So that's kind of nice. I mean, you could do it with SSH Secure Shell as well, but it's just nice to know that this IDE also lets you get on the cluster like this. So that's all I wanted to show you guys today. Hope you enjoy it. It took me a lot of time to actually make this, so if you like it, subscribe, like, all that jazz. Comment below, or, let me know if it was helpful. Let me know if you have any problems, and maybe I'll make this a video series. Maybe I'll do some more tutorials on other things. See you guys later.